Welcome to the Phantom Zone.
I try to join the X-Men, but I think they're maybe racist. Just because I'm human, they don't want my help. It seems it doesn't really matter if your superpowers firing through the belt. I tried to join the Justice League, but Batman was a douche to me. And Black Canary wouldn't tell me hi. And Plastic Man just threw a middle finger that was 30 stories high. I got a message from the great Avengers. They offered me a membership, but I didn't.
Hello, and welcome to Now Comics. I'm Lou Gonzalez. Joining me this week, we got both the Johns and Connor.
Hello.
You can't see right now, but I'm pointing at the WrestleMania sign.
Is that a JoJo reference?
No, it's a WrestleMania reference.
The only wrestling news I know is that both Bella twins are pregnant currently.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah. And Stephen Mal's going to do a wrestling show that's coming out in the this summer, I think, for Stars.
Summer or fall, I heard.
Yeah, on a network that I don't know if anyone watches.
Yeah.
Stars. Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty big up here in Canada. Like,
I mean, they had a couple hits. They had Outlander. They had
The first season, the only season of American Gods.
They had Ash vs. Evil Dead, but like,
the second season's good.
but it's just like I don't. It's like a premium channel. It's like I don't know.
Yeah, if you have cable, you get it for free. Like if you have those premium channels, but otherwise, there's no one buys it. But
yeah, which is kind of a dumb idea. You feel like, I don't know, given Mel's history with WB, you'd put it for like HBO Max or something.
Well, it's their show. It's not his show.
Oh, I see.
If you listen, he was on Rosenbaum's podcast a couple weeks ago, and the famous one where he had a panic attack. He like talks about like they actually they rescinded an offer to somebody else to give him an offer.
Oh, really?
They did not know that he would be available.
Wow.
At the time, yeah. So, which again, people should go listen to that podcast because it's really interesting to listen to him have a panic attack and.
Well, I really like Rosenbaum's podcast. I think it's a wonderful idea, but like that really does seem like I keep meaning to listen to it.
Yeah, it like broke. It was interesting because it's like 20 or 30 minutes in it happens, and then they come back like a month later and do the rest of the show and talk about it. Like they don't just like leave it there. Like, man, the guy was like super fucking burnt out from doing. I think he said like he pretty much had no breaks from like season 5 to now between doing movies and stuff. And
yes,
like
the one movie he did was
terrible. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like he said, between filming that, the press for that, and then doing stuff with like wrestling, he had no breaks. So he had like a crazy breakdown. But why don't we talk about actual comic books? Very light news week. So we got Werewolf by Night. I am astounded that this is coming back. So this is part of that outlaw thing that outlawed that Marvel's doing.
No, so this is just a 4-issue mini about Werewolf by Night. Jack Russell, the Werewolf by Night, and evidently it's going to involve Red Wolf, which was a Native American character that Marvel brought in a couple of years ago. Had a mini series. Has been kind of like I don't really think it's really ever showed up. But I guess that's cool. It's going to be written by Benjamin Jackdendoff and Taboo, the Black Eyed Peas.
Those are some fucking names.
I'm trying to remember which one is Taboo. Is that the blind one?
I think it's the blind one.
He's the one that played Vega in
Fire
Legend Chili.
It's the Spanish one. He was
also randomly in some episode of The Toys That Make Us, like the wrestling figure episode. It's like, what a weird place for you to show up.
Weirder than the Street Fighter movie?
Man, that movie sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not good.
I don't know if anyone here has seen that movie.
No, I remember
Bison, not Bison. Damien Dark's in it as Bison.
Yeah, and then the other the Flash villain is what's his name from American Pie.
Michael Clark Duncan is Balrog.
And Lana Lang.
You just reminded me that Chris Klein was in that movie.
Yeah, he plays Nash.
Yeah, and he's awful. So, like, here's the thing about that movie. It's like people will be like, "Oh, well, you know, the Jean-Claude Van Damme Street Fighter is bad, also. So, like, how bad could this be?" It's like, well, you know, the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie is bad, but it's also like a lot of fun and goofy in a '90s way, and it doesn't take itself like super seriously.
Well, it also has like a weird thing where it has like an actual like one of the greatest actors of all time in it for some reason.
Yeah, like Raul Julia is so good in that movie.
Raul Julia is so
listen.
good and dying simultaneously. Like,
Listen, I think that 90s Street Fighter movie is a gem.
No, it's great.
Yeah,
We're all on the
but
same
then
page.
but then Street Fighter Legend Chun-Li
Exists.
is like super dark and gritty. Like Balrog like beats a woman to death.
What?
Hell yeah, that's how you show a movie's dark and gritty.
I know that the lady who plays Chun-Li in that movie
Oh, that's
was
Lana
from, like,
Lang from
Smallville.
Smallville. She left
God
Smallville
damn it,
to
every
do that.
time.
No, she's the star of it.
And
She
and I
left Smallville to do this movie.
and I gotta bring it up to tie it back to the podcast. So now we're still on point. But like that movie starts off with like this scene of Chun-Li as like a young girl, like a young, obviously very Asian girl, and then grows up to be Lana Lang.
Well, she's half Chinese.
But it's like you couldn't even get someone who like the child in no way, shape, and form.
Oh, looks
would
like
have
her.
grown up to looks like her.
Okay, because
Like,
they
would not
had.
have grown up into this woman.
I don't know why they just didn't get the kid from Smallville because like they had a character, like an actress that played young Lana Lang throughout the series.
But yeah,
Oh no, Robin Show is in this, so he's in Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter.
Excuse you, let's not forget Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
What about Beverly Hills Ninja?
Street
These are all
Fighter
bangers. I don't know why people are complaining right now.
Street Fighter Legend Chun-Li is a worse film than Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Because at least in Mortal Kombat
Oof.
Annihilation is perversely kind of fun to watch it. Like
Well-
there's just like nothing redeeming about actually Nash is so like comically bad in that movie that his scenes like are like the only things worth watching. Like if you could like just watch like a couple scenes of him on YouTube, you're like, okay, I get the gist of like what this movie was.
Man, Robin Show has had a shitty ass career, let me tell you.
Oh, he was supposed to be like the new Bruce Lee for a hot second. And
But then Mortal Kombat, I mean, I like Mortal Kombat 1, but then Mortal Kombat
well, no,
2.
Mortal Kombat is like the one that blew him up because that movie made all of the money in the world.
And sure,
the
like
time.
he was in Annihilation, but in the same year he's in like Beverly Hills Ninja, and
Which
that movie,
I
and that movie's like
it's
I
re-
remember.
It's funny. It's a Chris Farley movie. Like it's goofy and bad. Chris Rock is in that movie as like a side character.
Oh my, he was also in the Dead or Alive movie.
Ooh, that's
Which,
a bad one.
Dead or Alive is actually better than Annihilation and The Legend of Chun-Li. Like that movie also has Kevin Nash as Bass.
But Kevin Nash can kind of act. Like I've seen him in a bunch of stuff, and he's
Yeah, Dead or Alive, the movie, is bad, but also just like a ton of fun. Like I would defend that movie, but it's like a movie I'd be like, hey, this movie is funnier than I think you'd give it credit for.
What, Dead or Alive?
Yeah.
I don't know. Right now, you're making me think because we're almost done with season 5 of Smallville Chronicles that we should watch Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li in between as a special.
I will gladly come on for that.
I would watch that. I don't think it's going to be very fun.
I mean, it'd be fun to make fun of it.
I'm
not
just
so much
I'm
watch
just
it.
seeing an image of Vega's mask, and I'm like, why does he have the mask from Jason X? Because like I'm gonna drop it in here, but it like looks exactly the same.
You know, all I remember about the Chun-Li movie is this shitty fight between Vega and Chun-Li.
Well, that's what's so funny is they did 2 Street Fighter movies, and the
Also,
main
you wanna
character
talk
of the
about-
game-
You want to talk about shitty? This tagline: "Some fight for power, some fight for us." But and then my adding part would be like, "But it's all in the street because."
But it's like if you want to do like a dark, gritty like take on Street Fighter, then just like borrow
Do
the animated
anime,
movie.
yeah, the anime movie
Yeah.
rocks.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? I just looked at this director, and this makes all the sense in the world now. The director of this was the director of the 2005 Doom movie.
Oh, okay.
This makes all the sense, and compared to Doom Annihilation, Doom 2005 is a masterpiece.
Doom.
Oh, he has like weird things.
Still,
Like,
I really want to see Annihilation. Sorry, go on.
He is
Doom
a cinematographer.
2005. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say he's a cinematographer for 2 amazing movies, Speed and Falling Down.
Yeah.
Oh, he directed Romeo Must Die.
Oh,
And
that
Cradle
is
to
so-
Japan.
Oh
And
my
Cradle to
God.
Grave.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh no,
Wow.
those are some bad Jet Li
Who
movies.
keeps giving him money?
Oh well, those
Doom-
are old, man. Those are like real.
I would,
no, I
I
know
would
that's
say
what I'm
this.
saying.
I would say this. Doom is better than The Legend of Chun-Li.
Yeah, because
Yes.
Doom has that last 10 minutes, and at least that makes up for some of the movie.
Yeah,
Doom
well,
is
Doom
not-
also
And
has The
Romeo
Rock.
Romeo Must Die is a pretty okay movie, I gotta say.
God, I wonder if I should put together like a best to worst on like Hollywood video game adaptations.
Oh, believe me,
Oh, yeah.
I've made that list. I have made that list.
There's it's pretty much they're all bad, and then it's like Pokemon at the top.
Hold on. Okay, we're getting really off topic, but I will defend Super Mario Brothers as a pretty fun ride.
Fun, yes. Good,
it's
no.
insane and weird.
Like, there's a very clear
and I say
difference.
this as somebody who owned that movie on VHS.
I still have it on DVD somewhere. I'm trying to get my video game list that I made like a while ago that I'm putting in
Double
the chat.
Dragon.
Double Dragon. Oh God.
Oh, that's
Oh,
another movie I owned.
dead.
Alyssa Milano is in that movie, and Mark Dacascos.
Can I take, like, the cop-out and say that John Wick 2 is the best video game movie of all time?
No, that's a cop out. How dare you?
That's exactly why I said that, because it's true.
Then that's mean by me. Actually, you know what? No, Scott Pilgrim is the best video game movie of all time. If we're going by that route.
Shit, you beat
actually-
me to it.
Actually, just give it 2 weeks and it'll be Sonic the Hedgehog.
Fuck! I already got my ticket.
I'm actually like unironically, I am very excited for Sonic.
I'm 100% with you there, man.
I
I'm
actually think
super
it won't
pumped.
be that bad because, like, I listened to the podcast the guy that wrote Sonic does,
Oh, yeah,
And-
yeah, no, so do I.
and they've actually been covering. They did 2 episodes on the Mario movie and like previous scripts, which what they started at is so much more insane than where they got. Because in early scripts, Luigi is like Mario's kind of mentally challenged younger brother.
Oof.
Because it was
We were gonna get a Geely before Geely.
Oh no! What it was they got the guy who did Rain Man to write. They wanted him to write and direct it.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's why that podcast is an awesome listen to. Best movies never made.
Oh, I have that podcast.
Yeah,
I
it's a
actually,
good
I've
one.
listened to that.
So we got like a huge order in today, so I was like shipping a bunch of stuff out, and I started that podcast. I listened to the episode on ET2 and then Jurassic Park 4.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like kind of so the thing about Jurassic Park 4 that I thought was kind of interesting and might be like a thing that I start seeing as I like go on with each episode is like a movie that has multiple rewrites that actually does get up being made later, and how much of like that initial Jurassic Park 4 script
leaks into
made it-
those other movies.
yeah, like the whole entire like second part of the movie in the Swiss Alps in that mansion is basically in Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah, you get a lot of that in some of them, like those type of movies where like something happened with it.
Mhm.
The ones you don't get that with is like what is it called? There's like shit, I can't remember. It was like somebody's white zombie, which sounded fucking crazy awesome. And was it Clive Barker's White Zombie? And there was like there's like 2 horror
No, it's
movies.
Tobe Hooper. You're thinking of
Toby Hooper. Yeah, his and somebody Clive Barker's something. I can't remember what it was.
Hellraiser?
No, it was like
No,
something.
it was like a
Uh,
movie he didn't get made.
The Mummy.
The Mummy, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, like, I did listen to the Mummy episode, and there's that guy who like worked with like Stephen King on like a bunch of his adaptations, and he was just like kind of lamenting. He's like, it's like we got, I really wish we could have made the movie I want to make, but instead they made this like this theme park ride with
Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser, and I'm like, come on, man, like. You sound like someone just like killed your kid.
Yeah. Oh, the other ones I really liked was the Return of the Thing. Sounded awesome.
Yeah, it did.
And if you go back to comic books, they did 4 parts on Spider-Man scripts and movies that weren't made. I think starting from like the 70s.
Yeah. No, it's from the very first Spider-Man movie planned to.
Yeah, I think the first one is like in the 70s when they wanted to do one. And then when they get to that James Cameron one, holy shit, am I glad that did not get made.
I think the Canon Films is.
Yeah, Canon Films has a lot to do with all these films because that was cocaine money.
I'm kind of surprised they haven't done an episode on the Wachowskis' Plastic Man.
I'm sure that they just did. They did a 2-part on Sandman, which is interesting. Which they go into like the first iteration, and then I think the Gordon Levitt one that he was trying to do for a while.
Yeah, I also would love for them to do an episode on George A. Romero's Resident Evil.
Ooh,
because George A. Romero like wrote a script to do a Resident Evil movie in the late 2000s, and they ended up scrapping it to make
Paul W.S. Anderson's clearly magnum opus.
Yeah. Hey
Resident
man,
Evil 5.
Speaking of which, that Monster Hunter movie comes out this year.
Dude, I'm so pumped. I cannot stress how much I love Monster Hunter and I love shitty movies. And now it's like,
so I don't know,
have you seen the leaked trailer? Because it is so bad looking.
Is it like as bad as Death Note looking?
No, yeah, maybe.
Well,
it's like a different concept.
Is it an American movie or is it a
Yes,
Japanese?
it is.
No,
it's an
American
movie with Japanese, like some Japanese actors.
Starring Paul Anderson's muse, Mila Jovovich.
You mean his wife?
It's also being produced by Tencent.
Oof. That's
it's
rough.
got some of that Chinese money going
into
it.
It makes sense because like the budget, like
Toho.
You can see some of the effects, and it's like it's too good. It's kind of crappy with how good the special effects are.
T.I.'s in this movie, and Ron Perlman,
and Tony Jaa.
Well,
Tony
Ron
Jaa's
Perlman is
this.
You can get Ron Perlman to do any movie, especially if it's filmed overseas.
Especially if it's with giant monsters.
And T.I. still has a lot of legal bills to pay from his stint in jail.
Mm-hmm.
But Tony Jaa
just has never crossed over. That's the problem. He's like 5'2" and has a terrible sounding voice. But to go I want to connect to one of the stories. So that One Piece live action series that you posted. So it links to a bunch of other stuff they're working on. People are working on. And I love that they're just being rented and being written in development. All it's Akira, Robotech, Attack on Titan. It's I can't see any of these things actually ever getting made. One Piece would be
that Robotech movie. So that's the Taika Waititi Akira. And that got pushed back again because of Thor: Love and Thunder. Yeah, and I think of all the adaptations, the one I kind of really I perversely want to see is what Taika Waititi has to say about Akira.
I love that movie. It was the first anime I ever watched. I've seen it a million times. I don't understand why people are so driven to make a live action version because I don't think it translates at all.
Because it's a property that a rights holder has, and they think they can make some money off of it.
Because the only one on here that's coming out is Cowboy Bebop. They're filming it.
Yeah.
And to be technical, Avatar: The Last Airbender is about to start up soon, I think.
Wait, what?
Again?
Wait, hold your fucking phone.
Netflix is doing a live action.
Oh god, damn it!
They have the original guys involved.
I don't care.
It can't be any worse.
Just leave it alone, man.
And they literally said they're going to adapt their own show with a non-whitewashed cast. Little jab there at Shyamalan.
Well, Shyamalan's movie isn't even whitewashed. It's just
it's just shitty.
It's just weird washed. I don't know. It's bad people are brown, good people are not brown.
Oh yeah, and they have this Robotech movie listed here, which was going to be directed by Andy Muschietti, the It director, and this movie will never be made because.
No, Andy Muschietti is making The Flash, another movie that is definitely going to get made.
Well, yeah, but also that, but also. Harmony Gold, the rights holders for Robotech, are fucking crazy, and we'll just.
I thought you said Harmony Korine for a second. I'm like, wait, when the fuck did Harmony Korine get?
Dude, Harmony Korine doing Robotech?
Hell yeah!
That'd be crazy.
You literally just made my heart jump for a second. I'm like, wait a minute, when did Harmony Korine get the rights to this series?
Also, Andy Muschietti wants to direct Attack on Titan, but I just feel like. The longer they wait on trying to do Attack on Titan, the more it's just
no one cares.
no one cares.
I mean,
I also,
the
I-
fucking manga's really good.
I get it,
man.
but like I feel like it's not as again, it's like weirdly not as translatable to live action because you're just gonna have giant naked walking people and it's gonna look weird.
Yeah,
Like,
100%. Have you
like, I
seen the
get-
live action? Like the live action Japanese
the
stuff?
Japanese movies are always wonky when they do those things because
Fair, but like they're fucking
They look-
weird.
They look kind of cool.
Their faces look good. I'll give them that.
But like I get Robotech and like Gundam is on here. I'm like literally I do not understand why there has not been a Gundam.
Lone Wolf and Cub would be a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're getting
they've
that
already
right
done
now.
plenty of
What,
live actions.
Mandalorian? You mean the Mandalorian?
It's called The Mandalorian.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's like the story of Lone Wolf and Cub is like kind of like so universal that it's like you can kind of adapt it to anything.
Oh well, that's like all those old school
and-
Japanese
okay.
things have been ripped off.
And
remade
I
a
will
million
say
times.
this. I will say this about a One Piece live action. As someone who's currently reading One Piece right now, it is. I feel like you would have to like. I don't even know like how you would kind of do this.
It'd be such a CGI nightmare looking thing.
It
Well,
would-
I mean, okay,
it would-
look, I'm just starting One Piece. I'm about 10 episodes in right now, and you could probably do like the first like 10 episodes in like real CGI.
I'm just wondering like how weird and how fantastical like they kind of want this to be, because it's like you can't be like, this can't be grounded, this can't like look run of the mill. It's just like, you know what, like I kind of want to see it. It might be it'll probably be a total disaster, but at the same time, like, yeah, like let's see this.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I just like I don't know. Like Cowboy Bebop makes sense to do a live action because it's very like
It's
you
grounded.
can do it. It's grounded, but like you can also like it can like there's nothing crazy looking going on. Like I'm trying to like even think of other animes that they could even do stuff like that with.
And there's like nothing about the character designs of One Piece that are like so at least of the initial cast, they're like so in like anime design that you couldn't adapt it in a way that's like very hard for like a Bleach or a Naruto or Dragon Ball Z.
Which
Yeah.
I think Disney owns the rights and they're thinking about, I think there's like, they own the rights to live action Dragon Ball Z. So there's like workshopping that I
They
did.
do now. Oh my god.
Because Fox
Yep.
had it.
You know what that means? Trunks is a Disney princess, and no one can stop me on that one.
Yeah. But like, I'm like thinking, I was like, why wouldn't they do like with the popularity, like a JoJo live action? I feel like would make way more
They've
sense.
done that.
But I mean, like, in a fully, like, and especially because those characters jump from different country to country.
I definitely think they could do the first two parts like almost perfectly, because they do start in England, then they go to America, then they go to Italy, and then they go to Germany. It's like a whole world
Yeah,
travel.
so like you could do each one
And-
as like a kind of like
And I feel like watching the Grammys this weekend, it's like you look at like everything that Lil Nas X has ever worn.
Oh yeah.
And
Look at-
like there's like an image that's actually going around where it's
Oh,
like
the JoJo-ified version?
they're like, oh, it's like Billie Eilish and I forget the other guy's name, but like in you know, and also with Lil Nas X, it's like they all just look like JoJo characters or JoJo stands.
Yeah.
mhm. Which I commend you for to watching the Grammys. I cannot do that. I think I'm done with award shows.
Not to go off topic, but
We're
like,
so
I-
as you can tell, people, this is a light news week as we're just rambling.
yeah. I
We
was
can talk
actually
about
like
JoJo, and I'm okay with
I'm
that.
actually like kind of really excited to watch the Grammys this year because I think like 2019 was like a particularly like very strong year in music. And you know, it's like the Little Nas X Old Town Road All Stars, and then with Nas coming out with Little Nas X singing Rodeo was great, and seeing all the fashions was really cool, and like I thought all the performances were cool, like Billie Eilish.
I'm still waiting for a
singing-
televised best rock performance, but that's just my own thing. That will never happen.
Well, then you should have watched Tyler the Creator, because it was the most fucking abrasive thing I've seen
It
in
was
the
like a
Grammys.
punk
Listen,
show. It was
long
so
time.
cool.
saw that man come out with his Switch. Okay, and I was like, good for you, Ty.
Yeah, Tyler, the creator, sang Earthquake with Boys to Men for like about 30 seconds, and then he played New Magic, and then the set came on fire, and then he was just like yelling in the mic, and I'm like, man, I would just love to be
God bless him.
I would love to be a fly on the wall of like the 60-year-old, 70-year-old people who are
Ugh.
watching the Grammys for Tanya Tucker, and they see Tyler, the creator.
Huh?
What? Get this Satanist off the television.
But yeah, I think, and then, it's like Billy winning all the awards could have been like very, it's just like, oh great, she won all the awards, but it's like she was just like so humble and so nice. Like when she won Album of the Year, and she's just like, please everyone just sit down, and that Ariana Grande should have won for Hello Next because it got her through some really bad shit this year.
Thank you.
And then-
Nick. Just saying.
And then they go to Ariana, who's just like waving her off in the crowd. She's like, "No, like this is for you." And I'm like, "Oh, like everyone." And it's like kind of like one of those things where it's like even when Tyler was on the stage, he's like, "Hey, you don't have to clap for me." It's like you don't have. It's like this kind of air of like younger musicians who are just like, "Oh, hey, like I'm really awkward. You don't have to clap for me."
Well, it's also like with all the controversy, especially like surrounding it, that popped off like a week beforehand.
Yeah.
Speaking of
So-
Billie Eilish, she was confirmed to have performed a special quote unquote set at the Oscars. And I'm kind of like, I know she's announced to sing the James Bond theme. So
I don't know if they'll premiere it there.
I'd be
but I
very
wouldn't put it
surprised
past
if they
them.
did.
I mean, like,
I honestly don't even know how I feel about that. Like,
Oh,
there
dude,
are-
I'm so mad with how much I love Billie Eilish. Like her shit is produced so.
I've only
well.
heard like 2 songs because I'm an old man,
That's fair.
and I just don't listen. I've never been like a pop music person anyway,
Mm.
so like,
I would honestly like just recommend like
What was her last
what do we
single?
what is it like? What do we dream about when we're sleeping? Like,
Mhm.
just,
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
sit down,
That song's beautiful.
well, it's just like listen to the whole album. It's like 30 minutes long, and it's like you'll just like kind of like halfway into it, you're just like this was like a major pop record. Like it's just very strange. Like, which is also like when people are like the knock on Billie for like a good part of this year was that she was an industry plant, and people are like, oh, she's like made by the industry, and like she like had connections and all this other stuff, and I'm like,
Shut
look,
up. That's bullshit.
I think it's like if I think it's very obvious when industry plant shows up, because an industry plant feels like everything else that's in the industry, and it's like you couldn't create who Billie Eilish was in a fucking laboratory, because it would be like it's like literally like the professor trying to create the perfect little girls, and Chemical X shows up, and you can't. It was like you can't, like that X, like
You
factor,
can't bottle
you can't-
this level
you
of
can't battle it.
success. Like it was the same thing that happened when Lorde started making it big. Is because technically, yes, she is an industry plant. She grew up in a musical household with producers and had connections to some of the greatest people on the planet. But she was still so goddamn good that like it didn't matter if she was an industry plant or not, because she was doing something the industry wasn't doing, and like doing it so well.
Mm-hmm.
I love Lorde.
La la la. I am Lord. La la la.
that's all I was thinking about was Stan Marsh. Oh man. So yeah, we went like in a whole weird direction. I'm trying to think of how to
Yeah.
go back.
I can talk about
Wait,
comics
I
read.
got it. I know how we can transition.
Okay.
Okay. Grammys, music, Eminem,
Mm-hmm.
Venom,
No.
bam.
Yeah, I hate this.
I can talk about like comics I read real fast, because I got mostly
Yeah.
caught up on X-Men.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did as well. So I'm interested to hear what you have to say, because I finished Fallen Angels like today.
That's the only one that in the last
That's
issue.
done.
Yeah, so I'm behind on Fallen Angels, and I have not read the newest New Mutants, but I'm
that one's
caught up
actually-
on everything.
The New Mutants is really good. Fallen Angels, it was what I thought it would be, kind of, and I just don't give a shit about it. and I'm glad it's done.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I read X-Men, the newest X-Men issue that came out today, and they sent Laura 400 years into the future.
Well, sorta, because they
Yeah.
sent her into that thing. What is it, like the vault? And time moves faster in there. So it's not that she's in the future; it's that she's spent like what would be. It's a hyperbolic time chamber. Like,
Yeah.
so she's lived like 400 years or whatever inside there or whatever. It's her, Darwin, and some character I've never heard of.
Who like has an adaptable mutant trait. So basically, he's the backup for
Darwin.
Darwin.
Yeah, he's like weaker Hope Summers, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting, like, because it's like an evolved thing with the Sentinels or some shit.
Yeah, because reading X-Men 5 and the Children of the Vault show up, I'm like, oh no, you people. And it's like, oh, we're getting to that point again. And it's good, you know.
Yeah, are you
I like
caught
the
up on
art. I like the art in that one way better than Linnell Yu, though.
Yeah, did you read X-Force?
Yes.
A chance? Because that one was also interesting. Yeah, Daddy Beast, and then
it doesn't matter. Like, even if this is like a new continuity or they're restarting everything, Beast is still just a massive asshole in all of these continuities, and I hate him.
But he's always that's kind of always the thing. It's why he would become Dark Beast in like the what do you call Age of Apocalypse timeline. Like he is such a cerebral douche.
But it's like in this one, he's just like so self-righteous and so condescending, and it's just and you just like
Jean goes like, "Don't fucking talk to me like that."
Yeah, and you would think like by this point, like after having the Watcher like talk to you about like, hey man, you really messed up. It's just like he continues to like do these problems.
Literally, a quote from it is Jean saying, "Don't fucking patronize me."
Yeah, it's just like at this point I don't know who anyone's favorite mutant would be Beast because he's just so insufferable.
I do like the idea that there like is like a plant, like a bio. I don't even know how to say it. Like how you would do it, like a bio sentinel kind of thing happening.
Oh my god. Do you remember how X-Force, that issue of X-Force starts up where he talks about X-Force being an orchestra and how
oh my god.
And then he describes like Quentin Quire and what he provides.
He's a brilliant violin. It's Quentin Quire is the brilliant violin. Domino is a fun emotive sax. What's her name is the Sage is the harmonizing in the background. Wolverine is pleasuring, is like the drums and the cymbals, and Jean is the cello because she's versatile.
And you might be wondering, well, then what's Beast in this orchestra? He's not an instrument. He's the maestro. He's the one that brings everyone together. And I'm like, oh my god, it's like kill me.
And I do have a question. Has Black Tom always talked in this weird way? Like, is he always talking in the third person? And like,
I think Black Tom is talking in the third person now because he's like so in tune with Krakoa that he's also speaking on behalf of Krakoa. It's like Venom.
Okay, yeah, because it's very weird, but I kind of like it where he's like, that's why it's like there are too many. So it's like that's why Black Tom's here. Black Tom's gonna make sure shit ain't gonna happen.
Because I think there's also like a back matter thing that talks about Black Tom Cassidy kind of losing his mind because, you know, it's like his powers worked in a certain way, like on normal planes, because it's like he had like very little kind of control or be in tune with, but here it's like he's in tune with a whole island, and it's just kind of making him crazy.
Yeah, he's losing his sense of self in many ways.
Yeah, and I think like for like the longest, I do like really love that bit where Black Tom is also talking about how he dreamed about going on an adventure with Juggernaut, and I'm just like, oh, because you guys are like best friends.
Mm-hmm.
I am also caught up on Excalibur, where J.B. Braddock is the Lord of Avalon now.
Yeah, I think that's the one I haven't read, but like I think I read the one before that where Oh no, wait, yes, I did. Yeah, Jamie Braddock sits on the throne, and Apocalypse has put him there.
Yeah, and Jamie Braddock is just like wearing pretty much a crown, a sash, and his underpants, and just walking around.
I feel like they made them have pants on. Like, he's in a sheet, basically. And then Apocalypse is like, yeah, you're there because you're the only person whose powers can, like, counter anything else that goes on in here. Plus, you're a Braddock.
Yeah, and Apocalypse basically doing an autopsy on a Morgana Le Fay if she's not dead.
Yeah, well, they do a bunch of, like, interesting things because, like, they kill Brian and then Jamie brings him back. And then they move him and his family to Krakoa, I believe, right? And then Rogue has now super control of her powers because she's just straight up all up on.
Rogue has that was the thing with Mr. and Mrs. X, and like the Rogue and Gambit series was like that's where she gets control of her powers.
Yeah, and I don't know, I guess Jamie has the sword. Which I don't know the backstory of Captain Britain enough to know what this lore stuff is.
If I remember right, it's basically like a test where, Merlin and the other deity basically give a test to the new, the person who might, become Captain Britain, and the test is you're supposed to take the amulet, but everyone takes the sword, and that's why so many people fail the test. So when Brian initially became Captain Britain, he took the amulet. And in retaking this, he took the sword, and that's why he's so brokenhearted, because he's I'm no longer Captain Britain. And the whole entire idea of also Captain Britain's powers are based around his own self-confidence. It's if the people of Britain believe in him, then Captain Britain can do anything, and it's he has basically lost the thing that makes him him, and it's what is his self-worth at this point?
And so is Betsy still Captain Britain, or is it now back to Jamie?
I believe that she is Captain Britain.
Okay, because I'm actually that is one of the books that's not ending, because I can't remember, because the one I said before, Fallen Angels, is ending, and there's another one that's ending. I don't remember which one. But I do want to say New Mutants was really good. And if anybody is listening to this, I have codes for a couple of the books, and I'm going to post them up in the group probably.
Ooh.
And then Marauders.
This is awesome.
Yeah, so the last issue I read, so basically we were talking about how the Black King, Sebastian Shaw, has been making these moves to try and gain control of the Hellfire Club and Krakoa. But while this is going on, the kid version of the Hellfire Club with Cade Kilgore has shown up, and they're backing the fucking hate mongerer, who I thought was the hate mongerer, and I was there's no way that they brought him in for this book, because I don't know if you guys know about the hate monger.
Yeah, I remember that character.
But he is a genetic clone of Adolf Hitler.
Huh.
Is it the same one? Because didn't Punisher kill the hate monger at one point?
The original Adolf Hitler clone is the original, or well, what am I saying? The original hate monger is the Adolf Hitler clone. Okay. So there was a hate monger that showed up during the heroic age called.
There was one in Civil War, and that's the one that Punisher killed.
That might have been the original hate monger. And then there's a second hate monger that shows up during the heroic age, and then there's Josh Glenn, who's the third hate monger, who shows up during Fear itself. Also, this hate monger later uses Hydra's time travel technology to try and alter history by assassinating Barack Obama in 1965, but is prevented from doing so by Nick Fury and Nick Fury Jr.
Okay.
Okay.
Nick Fury Jr. is the
weird,
one. But to get into this issue, to go back all the way, so there's the attack, and then basically everybody leaves, and then what do you call it? Sebastian Shaw shows up, takes out Lockheed, and basically sets up Kitty to drown.
Yeah,
She
Kitty
can't phase
drowns.
through Krakoan stuff.
And yeah, and it's also like revealed that the stuff with Christian Frost, the Kid Killed Gore, Hellfire group, the hate mongerer, the stuff that's happening at the Madripoor was all basically like put together by Sebastian Shaw because he's, because like Sebastian Shaw, like it's like the whole entire idea of Krakoa is that the good guys and the bad guys could all exist on one island. And you even have someone like Apocalypse, who's like debatably the biggest X-Men villain, who's
And
like
Sinister.
and Sinister, who are totally okay with this plan. But
It's only Shaw.
but Shaw, a man who pretends to be an aristocrat, like that's not enough for him. He has to run everything. And it's like, and it's his birthright. It's his destiny. And it's like, it's just so weird that like this is the guy that's the chink in the armor for like mutants to be working together.
And I don't know, it'll be interesting to see where all this goes, but yeah, and they still haven't fully explained why Kitty has the problem with Krakoa.
I believe it's because they don't want her phasing into Moira's house.
Yeah, I think we talked about that, but yeah, they have like not addressed it at all.
But yeah, and I'm like also kind of like at a point where with all the X-Men books, I'm just like, okay, like we're good. Like let's hit second gear now. Because I feel like
think next month is in February is their second round of books.
Yeah, so February has
I know it's the Fantastic Four book is also in February.
Yeah, and the Fantastic Four book shows up in February, and then Giant Size, Jean, and Emma. And I'm, it's just like, I want more romance. I want more kind of promises of what we kind of saw in Hoxpox. I want to see more life on Krakoa. And I'm not really excited for Cable, and maybe like not that excited for Hellions, but there was the announcement for Children of the Atom, and that looks really cool. Leah Williams' X Factor looks really cool. Like I'm not dropping any of books. I think right now, like I might not even check out Cable because there was that thing with Hickman's like you don't have to check out all the books. I'm like, oh cool, I won't have to check out Cable. I don't even think I'll check out Wolverine because I never really have felt like I need to read a Wolverine book at any given time.
Yeah, I actually was like looking, I was like, oh, the books today, usually they have like the list of what's coming out, and that is not in the books that came out today. So I guess after issue 6, like that's not going to matter as much.
Yeah. Well, and also Wolverine #1 is supposed to be an $8 book, and I'm not.
Oh, fuck that.
I'm not paying for
Nope.
Wolverine.
But yeah, did anybody else have any books that they are reading that they want to talk about?
I'm still reading the Blackest Night Omnibus, and it's making me realize I want to go get the other omnibuses of the other big events that Blackest Night is referencing, because there's a lot.
Yeah, I'm kind of doing the same thing, but like, so it's a Blackest Night. Like, I had, what was the other one? So I've read Crisis on Earth's Final Crisis. I've read Identity before. I read 52, which doesn't have an omnibus. And I just finished Countdown, which was...
I haven't read a single one of those, hence why I'm like trying to look for them. But the problem is the Infinite Crisis omnibus is going to be like 150. I think right now the Final Crisis omnibus goes for 86.
Yeah, I think I paid like a little less than 80 for it.
The one where Green Lantern turns the parallax is like not as bad, but it's like still...
Rebirth? Like Green Lantern Rebirth, I think it is.
I think no, it's like 0 hour Crisis in Time or something.
I'm trying to remember because some of them aren't in omnibuses. Like the Sinestro War is an absolute, and if that's like right before Blackest Night. Also, these things overlap because like reading Countdown, Sinestro War happens during that, which is weird.
Gotcha.
But Countdown was also like very goofy, and to just say like it starts at the end and each issue is like a little bit further back in the story, and it drove me fucking crazy. So I read it backwards.
Oh, that's See, I'm kind of at the point where it's like, I want to read Brightest Day. The Brightest Day omnibus is like out of print. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's not helping.
Yeah. That's why I'm gonna like. I know I'm gonna like start cutting back on my single issues and just buy like the big books.
Yeah,
Right.
I think I'm gonna be going past the little omnibus issues and like the big events I want to read and the big stuff. I'm just gonna wait for like a trade paperback or like an omnibus or something like Doomsday Clock. I'm just gonna wait for a giant trade to come out.
Yeah, because they've only done they did the first half.
I'm in the same for that too. I'll just wait for it
Yeah.
all.
I saw
Same-
that they
same-
were. I
same
saw
with
that
the
they
Abrams.
announced. I saw that they announced a thing where comic shops are going to get like an exclusive slipcase for if you buy Doomsday Clock Volume 2,
Oh.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
and it's like seems
Well, I
very
guess
odd.
Well, Marvel did the same thing with there's like with the one I have, the cover for House of X. You could only get it by buying it in a comic store, not at like you couldn't order it from anyone directly, and you couldn't get it from can't remember what it was. Like I don't think you could get it from like a big box store like a Barnes and Noble. It was only like the smaller stores they were giving it out to. But I don't know. It's an interesting idea, but I don't know. I did just buy like the Kingdom Come Absolute, which looks fucking awesome. So once I crack open my Final Crisis Omni, I'm gonna go to that after.
I feel like if I ever go see some like used book sales or used sales, I'm just gonna pray to God that has some good omnibuses.
Yeah, when Borders closed years ago, I bought like a shit ton of like hardcovers and trades.
Yeah. Okay. I know there's a book sale, used book sale near my girlfriend's house at the local library. I'm gonna try heading up.
But yeah, why don't we finish up Venom Lethal Protector? So everybody read all the
Silliest shit I've ever finished, except I'll get into it.
Yeah, so John and Connor, you guys read 4, 5, and 6?
I'm halfway through 5 right now. I forgot to
Okay.
read it.
I read it.
All right, so while we go, so issue 4 has the cover with Scream on it, totally, I guess, not bearing the lead.
Which
Yeah.
okay. By the way, did I miss that they did not name any of them in this book?
No,
Like,
they did
in
not
any
name.
of them?
They did not.
Never named any of them. Which when we get to it, I'm like, oh, how did they make a whole bunch of stuff with these characters like down the line, like the game and the toys?
Yeah, it's just like very odd, like how they introduce characters like this and how they would have introduced those characters now.
Yeah, and so yeah, it says like introducing the first female symbiote, and it's like,
Yes.
we get
I'm like, oh, is it going to be like the lady we've met in the underground tunnels? Like, did she get captured, or is it going to be like some other character we've like met before? It's like, and hey, spoiler, it's no one you've ever met. She's not even named. It's like it's like a nobody.
Well, that's what's funny is like reading this, I was like, wow, they actually like kind of stuck really close to the comic for the Venom movie, but in the wrong ways.
Yes.
All the wrong ways.
Because like it kind of is that in the comics too, where like they kind of tease those characters in the movie, and they're just like random people that we don't know. And I think we kind of see Scream in the movie.
The main bad guy in that movie or in that comic is played by Riz Ahmed in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he plays Carlton Drake, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So which was the whole thing, and so he's the guy that's like Venom is in the green force field bubble, and he's just like monologuing to him about all the things they're going to do, and then I guess this is where we get the thing with like the seeds, and they rip out all of the symbiote's babies from it.
So they're like if and like they like have like this beam of light, and like a little splurt comes out, and they put it in a pastry dish, and he's like, if I had a taste for the melodramatics, what am I call it? The last son of Venom. And I'm
Like,
like,
dude.
wait, didn't we just on the cover say that was the first? It was like the daughter of Venom or the first female Venom. Like now we have the last son of Venom.
Yeah, because I think they talk about, we know that Carnage is from you, and so they pulled out other ones, and he's just goofy. Sorry, John Scott, you were going to say something?
I was gonna say with that whole last son of Venom or the final seed, that really brings last week's title full circle, doesn't it?
Oh. And yeah, it does. And then we cut to a car chase, and
We cut the
Peter-
Spider-Man not being where he should be, okay?
He's in Santa Cruz, which is not that close to San
He is
Diego
way out of his jurisdiction.
or San Francisco.
I mean, Spider-Man just doesn't know the area.
That's true.
And I just want to get to where we have him as Spider-Man on a payphone calling Mary Jane.
Which,
And-
what is Mary Jane wearing?
Yes, that's what I was trying to get to. Like, I understand
She is
this
wearing fan service. That is what she's
Yep.
wearing.
like giant hair, headband, and it's this
Right.
whole work. I think
Like-
this is
like,
like
by the way-
workout gear.
It was the 90s. It was the 90s.
Aerobics.
80s hair, the sweatband, like, great. And then it's like everything else. It's like she's wearing like this crop top teal.
But I do
white
have to say,
beater.
this was actual fashion at the time.
Yeah.
Because
And
there
like-
is a
Okay, so she's working out in her house, from what I assume. She's wearing this teal green crop top, black panties, like not like underwear or like
they're not panties.
No.
They're like it's like a leotard thing.
no.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this is the fashion at
No,
the
that's
time.
that's what it may try to
I'm
be.
going to
but
show
that's
you-
Not what that's not what it
Uh,
seems to be.
Although this is much older, but like there is what the hell is the name of this movie?
But she's also wearing like those like 80s socks, which is like a pretty cool look. But like-
Hold on.
like
You
the
mean leg warmers?
leg warmers, yeah. Sorry, but like it's like she like it's physical, but it's like also like it's just like okay, like what a weird like outfit for her to be working out in inside her home. But like also, based off the lighting in this house, she's working out in the dark.
Yep. So far.
Yeah. Oh my god, what is the name of this movie? It's like because they did it on How Did This Get Made? There's like a Jamie Lee Curtis, John Travolta, Perfect. It's called, and like it's the exact same outfits, although it's from the 80s, not the 90s. But yeah, like that was fashion in the 80s to work out to.
Also, like, why is Mary Jane so sad in this?
Because Peter's gone. And that's her
But-
sole existence.
I think she thinks he's gonna die. Like she's worried that like, and because he says something like, "Oh, there's reports that there's other symbiotes like Venom's other like out there attacking people." And she's like, "Oh, so you're gonna fight like a bunch of people that are like Venom who almost killed you on his own?" And she's like, "Sure, Peter, bye." And like, then hangs up and stands in the dark looking out the window, and we get a
Yeah,
mass shot.
it's just a very weird exchange. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, and also he's dressed as Spider-Man on a goddamn payphone in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
And then we get back to the desert location, which I do have to say, I actually really like the Venom art. Like, I like the way it's drawn. I like the way it looks. But I do remember, like, Spider-Man is like, then we like, Eddie figures out, it's like, oh shit, yeah. If I just like the suit removes, I can just punch through this soundbar with my human hand, which I will get when we get to it is ridiculous. But then we have Spider-Man fighting female Venom.
Okay. Am I to believe that this like weapons company question mark, right? Made like extracted a spawn of Venom to attack a mall?
No, so what they did
Yes,
was
the most highly trained
Yeah,
government official.
they
attacked them all.
extracted like a Venom baby, then artificially aged it up, bonded it to one of their security personnel, and they're testing it on a mall because they want them to be bodyguards for their super rich clients in their possible doomsday bunkers, I think is what's kind of going on.
They don't have like a training room. They gotta test it out at like the local mall.
Yes.
Yeah. And then this is where I have like so many questions. So then we go back to the lab and Eddie puts his arm through the bubble, his human arm, and starts choking at a guy. And then the guy says, "You idiot, Brock has Olympic level strength. You set the decibels too low." When the fuck did Eddie get Olympic level strength?
I also like
He's
that Eddie's
a photographer.
I also like that Eddie's arm is bigger than Venom.
Yes, he's so big. But like, since when? Like, Eddie's always been jacked, but like, when would he have Olympic level? Like, is he as Venom also juicing to the gills? Like, what is happening?
It's the 90s.
how they
Eddie
get
Brock is
big.
probably. Look at that haircut. You want to tell me he's not on roids?
That dude plays so much hockey.
Oh my god! Well, he's from San Francisco. There's no ice there.
That doesn't stop them.
That was the most Canadian thing you've ever said, though, Connor.
I heard the Canadian come out in the hockey. I was like,
Hey there, bud. I'll let you know that hockey's all I got, eh?
Are you saying that Eddie Brock would be the goon for like their hockey team?
Of course, that dude is
Of-
built like a goon.
Are you kidding
He is a
me?
bruiser.
Eddie Brock would literally, the movie Goon would probably be about Eddie Brock if they allowed
He
it.
would put people through the boards.
I'm sorry. Side note: does the NHL actually have people on their team that are designated goons?
No.
Not
it's
officially, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's a sport that 100% says, yeah, you can fight. Like, just pull a dude. Like, the refs will stand back.
Less now, like in the last 10 years.
Yeah, but like, there's no rule stipulating like we need to stop the fights before they happen. It's like, no, go nuts, fight. Once you're done fighting, then we'll punish one of the people or both of them.
All right, and so I just want to get back because we were talking about like how giant Eddie's arm is. So after he gets free, they shoot him, which they have sound guns, and then we have this gigantically long-armed gorilla Eddie. Like, this art is ridiculous. His one arm is as long as it goes past his knee. It looks ridiculous. And I guess Eddie underneath the suit is only wearing black briefs.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's just
No,
Oh
he's
no, I
naked.
thought that was his Venom.
Is it? Because like when he's laying on the
that's
ground in the
definitely
next
not
shot,
Venom.
it looks like it's.
I
Bruce.
thought he's just freeballing it.
Oh,
In the
dude,
one image,
totally.
it looks like he is, but then when he's laying on the ground, I guess maybe they covered up his ass with black ink.
Probably.
They
Um,
did because of censors.
Yeah, and then we get this weird interlude where like the bullshit in the sewers or whatever, and then Spider-Man fighting She-Venom.
Oh yeah, just wait until we figure out like why they're trying to dig down to the earth.
Oh yeah. So Spider-Man fights She-Venom. She's really dumb and doesn't know her powers. And he just keeps kicking her in the face, and then she gets an extract and throws a dude through a window with her hair. Which there are things that happen in this with this character that are interesting, like power-wise, like the way it has hair, the way she uses her hair.
She's basically Medusa.
Yes. Spider-Man catches the guy, but then the secret thing has a hovercraft, and Spider-Man just.
Which, by the way, she grabs the guy and she throws him, and the guy's like, "No, I'm headed straight for that window." And it's like, is that what people yell when they get thrown? It's like, I'm falling towards that thing.
I mean, what else would you yell, to be honest?
I not like I don't know. Like, is he yelling so like Spider-Man will hear that he's like being thrown through a window?
Yeah, and then Spider-Man's like, oh, and then there's random guys like, there's a thing, I saw her go to the roof, and he points up. And it's like, oh, a hovercraft. Flap.
Obviously.
Got it, Thrap.
Yeah. And then we cut to our other evil billionaire, or not, no, our other evil businessman, because he's not a billionaire, because that ruins the whole ending of that story, which is really goddamn dumb. But they kidnap one of the homeless people and are torturing him. And then we get the only shot of seeing who's underneath these symbiotes, and it's the back of four generic soldiers, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, and
Really
I think
boring.
that's like, and that's why I was just like, oh, so like these symbiotes are nobodies, and then that just like seems so weird because you wouldn't have that nowadays. Like you would have an entire issue dedicated to like who this person was,
Each one and their
Yeah.
backstories.
or they'd be like
Yeah,
side
Dark Knight Metal
characters within
style.
the books.
Or you would get like at the end of the issue, like a follow up of like, oh, here's some backstory on this character, and then we have Spider-Man. I don't even know how to. He just sucks at infiltration for no reason. It's like, oh no, someone's coming this way. I'll just use the direct approach.
Yeah,
For
no, you
no
can't
reason.
quip from stealth, so you gotta cut that almost immediately, or else he's not Spider-Man.
And then they're like, oh, what do we do? And they're ripping the symbiote from Eddie. And the last part it leaves is his right index finger, which also weird. And they're like, oh, Spider-Man, look, Eddie's dead. And then we get random shot of 5 symbiotes. There's a yellow one, a pink one, a different yellow one, a green one, and a sort of blue, not Venom.
It's like the Green Lantern Corps, only dumber.
Although I do think it's funny that in the movie, they chose the least visually stunning one to be the main villain.
You mean
Of the
Riot?
But but I mean, it's like they don't even have names. They don't have personalities. I don't even know what their powers are outside of like the one who controls stuff with her hair.
They
I
don't
think
have it.
one of them doesn't they show
things
like
happen.
yeah. So that's like the end of the issue. I think the next one they show them. One of them has like acidy spew.
Yeah,
One
one
of
of them's
them
got
has
like
blade
weird
arms, but
tentacles.
Like one of them has blade arms, but it's like Venom could do that too. Like, well, like okay, so like, one of them could turn his hand into a hammer.
Hand.
Yeah,
But,
but
like-
Carnage does that all the time.
Yeah, they don't seem like they have like something like specially to them.
Yeah.
They just are.
Well, yeah, one of them is like yellow. Like one of them is yellow Carnage. Then there's the green one who has like tentacles coming out of his back. Then there's yellow girl, pink girl, and Hulk Venom. Like the Hulk Venom one, which is the one they use in the movie, is the most. It's literally just not Venom. It's kind of gray muscle body with like goofy ass teeth, and they just pasted Venom's face on everybody. And then Spider-Man even says like 5 Venoms, and then we cut back to there are explosives going to the underground place, and then oh wait, Eddie's not dead. He wakes up, Mullet, and balls out and starts beating the shit out of people.
I love that Mullet and balls out.
Oh yeah, well this is where we see
Yeah.
he's definitely totally naked during this entire thing. Like
Can that
And
be the
what's
title
one-
of the episode?
Oh,
Mullet
well, I hope
Balls
so.
Out.
Mullet and balls out. Like it reminds me of like Brock Sampson from the Venture Brothers. The way he's like
Yeah.
fighting, and the guy shoots him with a sound gun. He's like, oh wait, I don't have the suit on me, so guess what? It doesn't hurt, and just like choke slams him. And so Spider-Man's taking on the other guys, and they're like, oh, blah, blah, like, this is a good commercial to show. And then the yellow one does Carnage things. And they're tying Spider-Man up. And this is where we get, like, he says, well, one of them is slinging bits of its substance, burning the wall. That's a new trick. And that's the only new power these things show. And then Spider-Man webs one of them who eats the webbing and spits it in his face. And then Eddie Brock shows up butt-ass naked. And this is my favorite thing. He's like, they're the offspring of my other, but they haven't had time to bond. Like, Spider-Man's like, Eddie does, like, I must. They're still innocent, and yet they have to be saved. Come to me, my children, and together we may right the wrongs of this day. Come to me. And then they all just punch him in the face.
He's
It's
like,
very
nope.
good right there. I love that.
And then we cut to, like, the underground, some more dumb shit. All yelling, whatever. Then we have our fight. Eddie's still naked, and he throws Spider-Man a gun. And then we see kind of faces. So, like, the 2 women and 2 of the guys get taken out. But the yellow Carnage is still there. They run around.
Oh, we missed it for a second, but can I say that my favorite panel in this entire series is the second where all the Venoms punch
Punch Eddie in the face. Yeah.
That's the best panel.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, so Eddie gets Venom. He releases him. They're all back to Venom. And then when you see Venom, you're like, oh, look, he's drawn really well. And he has, like, his own personality. And then he gets attacked by a yellow, shitty drawn. Like, the other symbiotes are drawn so terribly and lazily.
Also, by the way, you never see. Okay, so on that panel, by the way, where Eddie gets punched in the face, if you look at the very bottom, he's still naked, and then every panel afterwards, where they do not show like his midsection, it's always in shadows. So,
He's always covered. He's definitely naked.
yeah. So confirmed, Eddie Brock is freeballing in that Venom costume.
And so Eddie and the yellow one are fighting, and he's like, Spider-Man, hit the thing, and we'll put him in the bubble. Spider-Man hits it, but it's not the regular one. If the bubble thing, it's the laser they used to age them. So it aged up the arm of the symbiote, and it like rots away. And then they have this weird ethical conversation about whether or not like oh, the humans will probably be fine. Spider-Man's like, well, probably should. I don't know. And then Venom's like, yeah, shut up, sleeper hold with my tendril. And then he uses the laser, and we get the other symbiotes are coming, and he shoots them with a laser, and now they're all dead. It lasted about 1 total issue.
Which, by the way, when the symbiotes are destroyed and they are left on the ground, they're also wearing underwear and bras and shit. So I think it's also like pretty clear why they lost. because they weren't freeballing in those Venom costumes.
Yeah.
That's the secret. The symbiote has to touch your genitals before it's actually powerful.
Yeah.
But like
And so-
at the end of the day, like these characters, like who do not have names, who were made for like a action figure line, have like I feel like withstand the test of time. I feel like and like
Well,
show up and
They
stuff.
got
And it's
used
like
in the video game, which I think is where most of their lore comes from now.
and it's like they only show up in one issue.
One issue where they're unnamed, they have nothing different about them besides being Venom Power Rangers.
Yeah, I think this issue kind of speaks to the power of nostalgia. Where it's like when you're a kid, you're like, oh yeah, like they're great. Like I love like blah blah blah, and they're like, well, like where did you learn that from? And you're like, well, not the comic.
Yeah, from what was we talked about last time, Separation Anxiety was the game. So I'm guessing it was that. And also the one figure, he looks Riot, which is like the gray one, looks nothing like the figure they made, because the figure is like a bug, like a roach. I guess they must come back in some other story later on. So Eddie and Spider-Man split up. Spider-Man goes after the big boss guy, and Eddie catches a ride to go to San Francisco.
Oh, did I also forgot to talk about like? Did we also discuss what the diggers are looking for?
No, we have not discovered that yet. That's
We
the
did.
beginning of issue 6. So
No, they actually bring it up in 5.
Oh, it is? I thought it was in
Yeah.
issue 6 that they like fully explain everything.
And the reason why we have like these big digging machines, like basically like trying to kick out all these homeless people in this underground city, is because it's a lost city of gold.
It's not even a lost city, because I think they fully explain it in 6. Because he fights the guy shoots him, he's like, oh, it's not going to work. And then it's like, oh, I have a laser cage. And he's like, yeah, well, I can reach through that. And then he says, in 1906, the foreign power helped send a secret shipment of gold bullion to finance a group of anarchists. Then the earthquake happened, and all the people died. And that's what they're searching for, is this like gold bullion.
Sure, but this city is underground, not known to people. It's a secret. It's a lost city. There is something of gold. There's a gold thing, gold chest somewhere in the city. It is a literal lost city of gold.
Yeah, so Venom goes to help the people, but then Spider-Man, continuing to be a dick, jumps him. The only thing I do like is one of his punches, you actually like he punches the symbiote off of Eddie's face, kind of. And I like that idea that it's like kind of separating from him. And as they say, we don't.
He also looks like Spider Jerusalem from Transmetropolitan.
The other thing I do like is like the next page. So like Venom takes out Spider-Man, and he's like holding him, but he's using so much of the suit to hold him down that his arms and legs are bare. And he looks like the goddamn Juggernaut underneath the suit. It's ridiculous how thick they make him. And again, we get there's another panel where it's like Eddie's almost naked, and then he basically tells them the whole truth, and so they go to stop them, and they team up, and they beat the shit out of everybody, and they screw up all the what are those robots from Gundam that we mentioned last time?
Zaku's.
The Zaku's. They beat them all up, and the guy's like, oh, I'm gonna run and blow up the thing anyway because it's all screwed. And there's fire, but Venom pushes through and sends his glob into the fire.
Glob.
And is naked again because he uses so much of the suit, and then pulls the guy back, saving him. And then Eddie leaves, and the guy's saved. Spider-Man's like, all right. And then we get, again, Mary Jane on the phone call, but like at least she looks normal now. Still got big boofy hair, but...
Mm-hmm.
And then Eddie, with his awesome mullet, gets approached by the underground people who invite him back. And he's like, don't worry, while we're here, you're under the protection of Venom.
Cue Eminem in the background, slowly screaming Venom.
I'm so mad that you keep bringing that song up.
We're doing Venom Lethal Protector, so I am going to keep bringing this song up.
Like, it just seems so weird that, like, they set up... I don't know. I felt like the Preacher Man would have been a Venom. His little stooge would have been a Venom. Like... It's just, like, it seems like...
Well, hold on. We have another series, as it says, but of course, even when Venom tries to do the right thing, people end up dead.
Sure. Okay. But like at the end of the day, this is a 6-issue mini where like the main hook of this thing is like you have this guy who's like trying to get like these Venom clones for his own privatized like militia. But then on the flip side, you have like this evil businessman trying to find lost gold in an underground city. And it's just
which you're also forgetting the other, which got dropped, the other businessman who's trying to get vengeance for his son that Eddie killed and recruited and built up the jury. So there's three.
Who I completely forgot about.
Wait, did he get defeated already?
He just disappeared. He disappeared after issue 3.
God.
Because I keep on thinking these characters are all the same character, and it's just like what a hodgepodge of story.
Yeah. So like I think issue 3. So I think issue 3 is the guy who's like with the jury. And then the end of it is where the Life Foundation people, I think, pop up.
The jury has as much screen time as
they have 2. No, they have more. They're in 2 issues.
You're right, they do.
And they get names and they have specific power sets.
They do have names. Oh my god.
They're people too.
Yeah, because there's like, oh my god, they all have dumb names because they're all like their names are their weapons. So there's like, it's not Soundwave, but it's like basically Soundwave.
Buzzsaw and Skill Shot and...
Oh my god, does that mean Spider-Man actually gets to finally face Bonesaw McGraw in the comics?
Oh my god. Yeah, it's Screech. I can't even... Well, I'm trying to look. Firearm. Oh my god.
Which, by the way, isn't that the name of the female Venom?
No, that's Scream.
Oh. Screech and Scream. My mistake.
Come on, Siler, get it together now. How dare you? How dare you mix up 2 very important characters?
You're better than this. We know.
And what's funny is like I think those first 3 issues are like way better than these final 3 issues. These final 3 issues are so dumb because it like runs to the end. Because that whole Life Foundation thing is just basically like 2 issues. He's get captured and
it trips.
It feels like this was a 10 issue that they just shrunk down because they needed to make more time for something else.
Because when we get to the Life Foundation, they're already playing out the last seed, and then Spider-Man just shows up, and him showing up really doesn't do anything because Venom kind of gets out on his own anyway. It's just ridiculous.
That's why I'm wondering. I looked. There was a sequel series, and I'm wondering if that's gonna like tie things up better? Question mark.
What is the name of the sequel series? Because I don't even remember.
It says I have it right here. Venom Funeral Pyre.
Now that's a 90s name if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, I'm like clicking it. I want to look at it. It's 3 issues. Wait, this came out in 2016. Oh no, this must have been like a.
That's the re-upload.
That's the reissue. I'm like, wait a minute. Why would they?
It's the thing that they show at the bottom. It's Venom and Punisher is the first issue.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh my god. Eddie looks fucking ridiculous and scares the shit out of a small black child. Yeah, it's like Punisher's doing his war journal. There's like gangs on the street. Punisher has his war van and he's killing the shit out of gang members. And then Venom shows up and he's like, no more slaughtering. And then you have Venom Punisher fight.
That sounds like the 90s.
Lots of fighting. Lots of dudes.
Oh, Punisher captures Eddie and puts him in a cage. Yeah, I don't think this, unless those other characters come back, it just looks like it's Punisher versus Venom is like this 3-series arc.
Oh, really? That's kind of disappointing.
I know those characters came back at some point, but I don't know when. Yeah, this is literally just Punisher versus... It takes place directly after, and it's just Punisher versus Venom. It's all
okay.
Yeah, besides the game, I don't know if we ever get... they show up somewhere, but I don't remember from what. Because Toxin is like 04. I'm looking at that Wikipedia right now.
I was going to say, it looks like Scream shows up a lot. Fade shows up later.
Oh my god! So
Carnage,
they have
in like Carnage USA.
Yeah, because I'm looking. They have names, so it's Donna Diego is Scream, Carl Mock is Phage, Leslie Gesneria is Agony, Trevor Cole is Riot, and Ramon Hernandez is Lasher.
It looks like a bunch of them, like all these Venom showed up in Carnage USA.
Which one is that?
Early 2000s. Like that was
So,
when
like
when Clayton Crane was doing Carnage stuff.
Yeah, I guess the idea is that like the Life Foundation started in Spider-Man. Yes,
that's why I think that's where it came from.
Yeah, and the Wikipedia says they weren't given names. However, in the Venom Planet of the Symbiotes toy line, the yellow symbiote was named Screen, and the green one was named Lasher. Scream was eventually used in Marvel Superhero Island Adventures #1 and the Spider-Man Back in Black handbook. The toy line also featured a forum symbiote named Riot that was loosely based on the unnamed symbiote in the comic What If Scarlet Spider Killed Spider-Man? The name Phage comes from an unrelated character from the comic Venom the Hunted, and Venom Along Came a Spider toy line. The other symbiotes' names became popular among fans, did not appear in an official Marvel work until the 2011 Carnage USA. So literally all we know about these characters comes from this goddamn toy line that I had, that we talked about last week.
And you're the reason. You're the reason that it's so popular now. Because you bought all those fucking toys.
Yeah, like, it's ridiculous. It is funny, like, I guess, like, nostalgia has warped this comic into being way more than it ever was.
I mean, it's fun. The first 3 issues are a lot of fun, but then it just, like we were saying, it falls off in the last half.
It's definitely, like, it's the story of Venom becoming an anti-hero, which is, like, that's why, like, I think the first couple of issues are way better. Like, once the Life Foundation gets in there, it's, like, even more, like, we go from 2 evil businessmen to a third, and then like other symbiotes, and then there's that whole storyline with the dad that got dropped. Remember his dad? And the maid?
Right. They talk about like, Eddie's dad, and then just never again.
There's like 7 different like storylines in this series, and then like 3 of them get dropped halfway through.
All of them but one. The one or 2. I should say.
Yeah, we find out that, like, oh, he can stay in the underground place because he stops the guy because that guy was just after the gold.
I mean, if you want to count the fact that he doesn't kill Spider-Man and they kind of come to terms, that could be a 4th plot line.
Yeah, so we don't hear about, like, we don't get anything with the jury, we don't get anything with his dad. There's just 2 dropped storylines.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because I actually think that the jury storyline isn't a bad storyline to have, like, oh, you're trying to be good, but there's a group of people who are trying to avenge someone who you killed while you were bad, and like kind of becoming like their own set. It's just, I don't know, it is ridiculous. But I don't know, this was a good palate cleanser after reading Crisis on Infinite Earths. So,
yeah, we balanced like heavy dialogue with now like very heavy action, like physical stuff happening.
Yeah.
A nice middle ground series.
Yeah, so this was 1993, so maybe we can find something in the late 90s, early, and kind of see where comics jump to there.
X Factor. Let's read X Factor. I know
issues?
John's in.
X Factor goes on for like 60 issues.
Yeah, I want like a nice mini. So yeah, I guess let's do a quick round of plugs and then get out of here before it's midnight on the East Coast.
Ooh.
All right, I'll go. I'm John Scott. You can follow me on JamScott193 on Twitter, and go listen to the Fan Zone. We just dropped the massive 3-hour Crisis on Infinite Earths Arrowverse episode, which is we covered all 5 episodes.
Did you talk about the guy with the bow and arrow?
Yes, we did. He's a pretty integral part, and he's no longer the guy with the bow and arrow. Now he's a spooky ghost.
Shame.
Yep.
You can find me at JohnJOHN_FN_Seiler SEILER, where I talk about work stuff or albums I've picked up or comics and whatever.
You can find me at Question Connor on Twitter and at Maybe Connor on Instagram, and sometimes I do post things on either of those that are vague and strange.
Yep. So you can check me out on all the other podcasts. Season 5 of Smallville Chronicles is wrapping up next week. And don't forget to check out all the other shows.
And we might have given Lou the inspiration for what his next special might be in between seasons.
Yep. All right. We will catch you guys next time.
I love you.
Remember, mullet and hair, balls out.
Forever.
I got nothing.
Take join the Great Lakes Avengers.